Ακούστε τώρα την ιστορία του Κεμάλ, ενός νεαρού πρίγκιπα της Ανατολής, απόγονου του Σεβάχτου Θαλασσινού, που νόμισε ότι μπορεί να αλλάξει τον κόσμο. Αλλά πικρές οι βουλές του Αλλάχ και σκοτεινές οι ψυχές των ανθρώπων.
Στις Ανατολής τα μέρη μια φορά και έναν καιρό ήταν άδειο το κεμέρι, μουχλιασμένο το νερό. Στη Μοσούλη, στη Βασόρα, στην παλιά τη Χουρμαδιά, πικραμένα κλαίνε τώρα της ερήμου τα παιδιά. Κι ένας νέος αποσώει και γενιά βασιλική, αγρικάει το μυρολόι και τραβάει κατακί. Τον κοιτάνε οι Βεδουίνοι με ματιά λυπητερή, κι ορκός τον Αλλάχ τους δίνει πως θα αλλάξουν οι καιροί. Σαν ακούσαν οι αρχόντοι του παιδιού την αφοβιά, ξεκινάν με λυκουδόντι και με λιονταριού προβιά. Απ' τον Τίγρη στον Εφράτη κι απ' τη γη στον ουρανό, κυνηγάν τον αποστάτη να τον πιάσουν ζωντανό. Πέφτουν πάνω του τα στήφη σαν ακράτητα σκυλιά και τον πάνε στο χαλίφι να του βάλει τη θηλιά. Μαύρο μέλι, μαύρο γάλα ήπια εκείνο το πρωί, πριν αφήσει στην κρεμάλα τη στερνή του την πνοή. Καμήλες με ένα κόκκινο φάρι, στου παράδεισου τις πύλες ο προφήτης Καρτερή. Πάνε τώρα χέρι-χέρι κι είναι γύρω συννεφιά, μα της Δαμασκού τ' αστέρι τους κρατούσε συντροφιά. Σ' ένα μήνα, σ' ένα χρόνο βλέπουν μπρος τους τον Αλλάχ, που από τον ψηλό του θρόνο λέει στον αμυαλό Σεβάχ. Νικημένο μου ξεφτέρι, δεν αλλάζουν οι καιροί, με φωτιά και με μαχαίρι πάντα ο κόσμος προχωρεί.
Καληνύχτα Κεμάλ, αυτός ο κόσμος δεν θα αλλάξει ποτέ. Καληνύχτα.
There is a state which beheads and even crucifies its citizens, where those who question its authority are lashed and locked up for years. A state where women lack many basic rights, patrolled by religious police, where children are indoctrinated
قاتلته اعتالته بالتالي بدرس مستحيل.
A close ally which buys billions of pounds worth of British arms, whose security forces we equip and train, whose oil we buy, and whose royals get the red carpet treatment.
كان بدنا يسب في السعودية ما بيها شيء، يقول لا أنت بنت ترى الجدران تسمع، يعني الجدران هاي تسمع. الشخص لما يبغى يتكلم لما يبغى يقول شيء ما يستطيع، ما في أي حاجة داعي يعني. فكانت السلطة تعتقل على الكتاب. هوس الخوف هذا بيسيطر على الشعب كامل سواء كانوا شباب، أطفال.
Yasser is part of an underground network of activists in Saudi Arabia. It's one of the most secretive countries in the world. No journalist can operate freely, and you can't even get in as a tourist. So Yasser's come to Istanbul at great risk to collect an undercover camera. Over the next 6 months, he will be filming secretly inside Saudi Arabia. If caught, he'll be imprisoned.
من ناحية إنه في خبر، نعم في خبر، نبغى الناس تشوف، نبغى الناس تعرف يعني كيف إحنا عايشين في اضطهاد وفي ذل وفي استعباد. ألزم علي إني أوصل الصورة البائسة هذه للناس واللي يكون يكون.
Two days later, Yasser is flying back into Riyadh to begin filming undercover. In Saudi Arabia, the king is all-powerful. Since he came to the throne in 2015, King Salman's face looms large over the streets. The external face of Saudi Arabia is ostentatious wealth and luxury shopping malls. This is how millions of Saudis live, a reality rarely seen by the world, because you can't film openly here. In Saudi Arabia, playing music in public is forbidden by the religious police. After Yasser and his friends have been there for less than 5 minutes, the police return. This was the last shot recorded before Yasser's loot and hidden camera were smashed.
جيمس كسعودي أصبح اليوم كسعودي العود حتى.
The Saudi education system has been intended as an insurance policy, as a security measure to protect the ruling family and to mislead the millions of students into hatred of other religions, other cultures, and into the worship of the Saudi ruling family.
From the foundation of Saudi Arabia, the support of the religious establishment has been central to the royal family's grip on power. The regime uses traditional Islamic punishments. Executions are often carried out publicly with one sword blow to the neck. The headless bodies are sometimes then displayed publicly. In 2015, Saudi Arabia executed 157 people. This was filmed by a policeman. He was later arrested after posting it online.
في النهاية تكمل فهم العربيين تسجيلهم تعتقلهم تعتدي عليهم. لا أعتقد أن هذا الإسلام لا أعتقد أن هذه الدولة أصلا تمت الإسلام بصلاة. لكن مش الناس كلها عندها غضب، لكن المشكلة ما حد يقدر يتكلم. كل الناس تخاف العقاب. هم كلهم يبغون يخلون كل شيء بالخفي لأنه لو سمحوا بالحرية وبالكلام يعني بتكون بداية سقط نظامهم يعني.
In Saudi Arabia, criticizing the government, criticizing religious people, are considered as acts of terror. And people are reporting on each other, targeting their fellow citizens. So everyone becomes, more religious than ever. Everybody becomes more pro-government than ever. So we're going into a fascist society.
One activist's story, more than any other, encapsulates Saudi suppression of free speech.
موقع الليبراليين السعوديون هو أثار حفيظة المتشددين بصفة عامة في السعودية لأنه كان يفضح ممارسات.
This is Raif Badawi, speaking before his eventual arrest in 2012.
وعلى وجه الخصوص ممارسات في الأمر بالمعروف والنهي عن المنكر، فذلك حملهم على محاولة تخويفي ومحاكمتي في الموقع الليبرالي السعوديون على أنه يسيء الإسلام.
هذه الساحة ورسم جمالي في جلد الأشخاص بدوي. أنا أعتقد أن رايف شخص أبدى برايه بكل احترام. لم يرفع سلاح، لم يقتل أحد، لم يفجر، لم يكفر مثل ما فعلت السلطة.
Saudi Arabia shows outsiders state-of-the-art prisons, but people rarely see the reality. What they found was chaos and lawlessness. Women still don't have the same legal rights as adult men. Women can't drive and struggle to perform many simple tasks, such as going to the doctors without a male guardian. In some cases of abuse, the authorities do act, but if a woman is the victim and tries to report it, the police may tell her she needs a male relative to file a complaint.
This is a tribal society, and it's been kept this way. Violence is a symptom of the position of women in a society because it reflects how people view the roles of women. The philosophy of the government is to keep the control of the man, or the power of the father, basically. So violence is used as a disciplinary way or a controlling way.
Loujain Hathloul is Saudi Arabia's most prominent women's activist, a constant thorn in the side of the regime. She uploaded videos of herself driving as part of a campaign to change the ban against it.
أهلين، معكم لجين الهذلول. أنا الآن في طريق الغويفات بحاول أقطع الحدود السعودية من هناك ونشوف وش يصير.
Moments after this was filmed, Loujain was arrested trying to enter Saudi Arabia. She was imprisoned for 73 days without trial. Eventually, she was released, but she is banned from traveling, and she says she still has terrorism charges against her. Despite the risk, she is still happy to meet us. She may be under surveillance, so we have to meet her in a secret location.
I've been threatened since the beginning. My car was broken. I almost got beaten up just because of the campaign. People wrote me letters on Facebook and sent me all sorts of weapon pictures, saying that if I continue, I'll be murdered or my family harmed.
Loujain's campaign sparked a debate inside Saudi Arabia. To some women, she became a hero. To the more conservative elements, a hate figure.
I try to represent their rights. Some of them don't believe that it's their own rights. They refuse it, they reject it. But I believe that they're imprisoned in their own old raising, their old mindset, or they just fear freedom.
Although banned from activism, Loujain hasn't stopped campaigning. She's registering as a candidate in the 2015 municipal elections, the first in which Saudi women can participate.
It's scary. I'm not saying it's not scary, but I'm continuing. I am not stopping. I'm stepping, shaking while stepping, yes, but I'm not giving up.
He's come to meet the family of a boy who has been condemned to death, aged just 17. Ali Nimr's punishment marked the beginning of what activists say is a dangerous new phase for the Saudi regime. In 2011, Ali Nimr was a schoolboy who joined in street protests inspired by the Arab Spring. Young Shia men hit the streets in unprecedented numbers in a country where protests are illegal. As the days passed, the confrontations with the security forces became more intense. The Saudi police reacted to the protesters with bullets. Protests sprung up in other parts of the country, and activists like our cameraman Yasser sensed weakness in the regime for the first time.
كان عندي شعور إنه إحنا ننتصر، خلاص يعني جاءت اللحظة اللي خلاص إحنا نتغلب على هؤلاء المستبدين اللي عشرات السنين استبدوا فينا واستعبدونا يعني. كانت خيبة أمل كبيرة يعني بعد الوقوف هذا. كان شعور جدا مخيب مخزي.
Eventually, after tens of protesters were killed and many more arrested, the regime succeeded in putting down the uprising.
اطلق تعال. دانا هنا أنا دانا هنا. هذا بيتي شوف.
Ali recorded his anger at the police's reaction in this confrontation outside a police station.
ما عندي شيء أنا ما عندي لك كاميرتي. أنت قاعد تطلع في بيتي عشان كذا أنا قاعد.
Soon after this was recorded, Ali was arrested. He was charged with numerous offences, including throwing a Molotov cocktail and organising protests by text message. His family say he was tortured into confessing.
اتصل علي من الرياض، سمحوا له بالاتصال وقال أن هناك أوراق في المحكمة وفيها حد الحرابة. علي طفل صغير سألني بابا إيش حد الحرابة؟ علي سألني إيش حد الحرابة بابا؟
The punishment for treason is beheading, followed by being publicly crucified. But some felt Ali was being punished because of this man. Sheikh Nimr was Ali's uncle. He was seen as the spiritual leader of the protests.
نحن على امتداد 100 عام نعيش ظلم وجور وخوف وترهيب. لا نخاف الموت ونعشق الشهادة.
طبعا صعب يعني ليلي ونهاري الذكرى ما يغيب عن بالي. على طول ذكر علي موجود في بالي، على طول لساني يلهج بالدعاء إليه، بالفرج إليه. أشياء كثيرة في البيت تعني لي علي، كل البيت أصلا يعني لي علي.
The British government says it has lobbied to spare Ali the death penalty. But in September 2015, Ali's death sentence was confirmed, with no more chance to appeal. In the same week, it was revealed Saudi Arabia was made the chair of a UN Human Rights Council panel of experts. For more than 70 years, Saudi Arabia has been Britain and the West's key ally in the Arab world. The government says they've kept us safe by sharing intelligence and helping us fight terrorism and foil attacks.
Very nice decision.
Since David Cameron's government came to power, we've sold Saudi Arabia more than £5 billion of weapons.
Saudi Arabia has been a very important partner. We've got our oil from them, we've sold weapons technology to them, and they have been an ally in providing intelligence about low-level al-Qaeda activities. But there's an irony there, and that is because actually al-Qaeda stems from an extreme interpretation of Wahhabi Salafism, which is the official religion of Saudi Arabia, and which they've been spreading around the world since 1979. So there's an ambivalence to that relationship.
On the 2nd of January 2016, they announced the execution of 47 men for terrorist offences in Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia says it has executed 47 people.
It was the largest mass execution since 1980.
Shia cleric Nimr al-Nimr.
Whilst many were convicted al-Qaeda terrorists, Several others were political activists. Ali Nimr was spared for now, but his uncle, the Shia cleric Sheikh Nimr, was executed. This new footage, smuggled out by Yasser's network in the last few weeks, shows how his execution has sparked the first major protests in the East since the Arab Spring.
أنا شخصياً أعتبر أن السيف مسلط على رقبته. يتوقعون أن تكون هناك ارتدادات، يتوقعون أن يكون هناك فلتان في الشارع. فما بالك لو لا سمح الله أقدموا على الإعدام.
They will not tolerate any dissent because they are viscerally opposed to sharing power.
The executions have clearly had an effect on the activists we've been filming. Yasser has now been working undercover for 6 months, every day risking arrest. But he tells us that after the executions, the situation has become too risky to continue.
James, ما أقدر أكمل. أخوياي كلهم اعتقلوهم. والكاميرا اللي شافوها عندي بيقول عني إرهابي، والناس ما مبسوطين أبد. الحين عرفنا حقة ملك.
The elections, billed as a great advance for women's rights, went ahead. But women's activist Lujain Hathlul was missing from the ballot.
Definitely, yeah. I'm a troublemaker for them. That's why they don't really want me. Or actually, I think it's the case of me being a very vocal person about human rights or women's rights.
It's not going to go away because people are being imprisoned or even executed.
A year since Raif Badawi was publicly flogged, he's still serving out his 10-year sentence. In response to the film, the Foreign Office told us,
"Only by working with Saudi Arabia can we bring about changes we would like to see. We regularly raise with them the importance of compliance with international law, including in the Yemen conflict. Senior Saudi leaders have condemned sectarianism and ISIS's ideology. The Saudi government has assured us that Ali Nimr will not be executed."
The Saudi government told us,
"The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia utterly rejects the partisan nature and sensationalist tone of this documentary, which sets out to portray the country in a negative and unbalanced light. The Kingdom's legal system is based on the due process of Islamic Sharia law. The Kingdom is at the forefront of international efforts to combat terrorism and will pursue anyone who supports and funds terrorist activity."